What makes this main character so different is that no matter how often death comes for him, he always comes back and reborn in a brand new life. It's happened so frequently by now, it doesn't even surprise him anymore. Each rebirth throws him into a completely new world and era, from ancient tribes still discovering fire to futuristic civilizations that rule the stars. In his latest life, a moment of carelessness during a monster battle leads to his end, and once again, he opens his eyes as a newborn, but he's not new to this. Reincarnation is practically second nature by now. Let's see what tricks he's got up his sleeve this time. The moment his eyes adjust to his surroundings, he starts scanning the room. Judging by the wooden furniture and the stone walls, he guesses this place is stuck somewhere in the medieval period. Thanks to the knowledge from his countless lifetimes, he's sure this isn't Earth. Probably another fantasy world again. If he had a choice, he'd go back to the science fiction ones. They were clean, efficient, and came with a lot fewer bugs. Still, he's relieved to see signs of wealth around him. At least this isn't a poverty-stricken family. The presence of maids alone hints that this is a well-off household, likely nobility or upper class in this fantasy realm. And if he's being completely honest, he's not complaining about his mother this time either. She's gorgeous, and he's happily soaking up every affectionate kiss. Even though he doesn't understand the words she's speaking, the emotion behind them is crystal clear. The way she clutches him so carefully, afraid to drop him, and the tenderness in her gaze tells him all he needs to know. He's lucked into a loving mom this time. Throughout his many lives, he's experienced all kinds of mothers, and not all of them were kind. Some left him behind moments after birth. Others used him like a tool. This time, though, he has a good feeling. Maybe, just maybe, this life won't be as rough. That's when a maid enters and gently suggests she take the child so the lady can rest. The moment the word prince is mentioned, it catches the baby off guard. He wasn't expecting royalty in the mix this time. But then he notices something. His mother doesn't exactly light up at the title. Soon, he understands why. His mother, named Rifana, gently tells the maid, Chena, not to be so formal. Turns out, Rifana used to be a maid herself, just like Chena. She insists there's no need for fancy titles, especially when no one else is around to hear. Though the boy carries royal blood, Rifana knows his claim is weak. The nobles and royal concubines want nothing to do with him, all because his mother wasn't born of noble stock. She knows her son will never be accepted as a true prince, even if his father is the king. Despite all that, when she begins to cry, the baby boy reaches up and brushes her tears away, Haitan, which brings a smile to her face. To her, it's a touching moment. To the maid, it's just random baby movement. But make no mistake, the boy, now named Errol, knew exactly what he was doing. He was comforting his mother. Whether he inherits a throne or not doesn't concern him. In fact, he's grateful for the anonymity. Being cast aside means he can move in the shadows unnoticed by the powerful. A perfect setup for a peaceful life. He's totally fine being the forgotten prince. This marks his 101st life, and for once, he's got a good feeling about it. Having a mix of royal and commoner blood seems ideal to him. No political games, no pressure, just a chance to enjoy life. Rifana and Jaina watch over him with gentle eyes. Rifana wishes she could keep that joyful look on her baby's face forever, though she knows life won't make that easy. Later, the sound of the word power snaps Arl out of a nap, and he instinctively starts sucking his thumb. It reminds him of the truth of this world. Here, lineage rules everything. Being a prince with no rights is like being a knight without a sword. He has no influence, no allies, and no path to the throne. He realizes people will either ignore him or use him. Still, he silently reassures his mother not to worry. After all, she doesn't know she's raising a man who's lived over 100 lives. 3 months pass. Lady Rifana watches over her sleeping baby and can't help but admire how angelic he looks. She gently brushes his hair and notes how different it feels from the king's. Just then, Chena arrives to say the carriage is ready. Rifana leans down, kisses her child's cheek, and whispers for him to be good before she leaves the room. But little does she know, he was never asleep. Errol had just been pretending. The moment the door clicks shut, he grins to himself but quickly slaps a hand over his mouth so the maid doesn't hear. Being this adorable is a full-time job. Then, sitting up in his crib, Errol prepares to do something no baby should be capable of. Begin cultivating. Time is of the essence, and strength is always the key to survival. No matter what world he ends up in, one thing always stays true. Power is everything. If you're strong, you're free. While channeling his energy, Aurel reflects on how none of his previous lives were wasted. One of his greatest achievements was creating a technique that allowed him to train even as a newborn, a method called the Origin Creation Qigong. He developed it during his 30th life, and it changed everything. This technique lets him build both his natural and foundational qi at the same time. And the best part? No one can even tell he's cultivating. He does some mental math and estimates that if he stays consistent, he'll have 60 years worth of chai by the time he's only a child, and as his mastery grows, he won't even need to focus to continue. He could literally be playing, laughing, or even tied up, and still be training. To accelerate his progress, Errol channels his energy directly into his nervous system, focusing especially on his brain's frontal cortex. The result? An intense heat surges through his small body, making him drip with sweat and writhe in searing pain. As the pressure inside builds, he teeters on the edge of losing consciousness. A scream escapes his lips before he catches himself and clamps down on the sound. Chana, alerted by the noise, hurries into the nursery. But when she glances at him, all she sees is a peacefully sleeping baby, curled up in his crib. She leans down, sniffing lightly to check if he needs a change. Internally, Errol is panicking. Even a gentle touch could shatter his concentration and ruin everything. Thankfully, she doesn't notice anything unusual. Muttering something about a bad dream, she quietly leaves the room. The moment she's gone, Errol's body feels like it's radiating heat, like a miniature furnace. Energy is spilling from every pore. He can feel his small frame trembling under the weight of the power he's trying to harness, but he refuses to stop. Even if it hurts, even if his body threatens to collapse, Errol is committed to walking a path where he answers to no one. This is his chance, through the Origin Creation Qigong, to gain enough strength to carve out a life where no one can control his fate. Just when he regains balance, another burst of energy makes him cry out, this time loud enough to be heard outside. Chana rushes back in, convinced something must be wrong. She finds the baby soaked in sweat, but once again faking sleep. Seeing his condition, she hurries off to prepare a warm herbal bath to soothe him. The moment she exits, Errol leaps up with a grin. Everything is finally falling into place. When Chana returns and picks him up, she praises him for being such a strong and brave boy. He smiles sweetly, thankful she hasn't realized he's been cultivating energy like a master monk. His mana concentration technique keeps absorbing energy constantly, whether he's awake, asleep, or even eating. And if he continues like this, he'll surpass fully grown warriors by the time he's 3. By his teens, no one will be able to touch him. Just thinking about it fills him with joy. As Chana cuddles him, she hears a strange creaking sound coming from the hallway, probably a Yumabov, but her focus shifts back to Errol's bright, smiling face. Meanwhile, Errol is already lost in visions of the future, a life of respect, independence, and power. He can't wait to make that vision real. It's only been 5 months since Aurel was reborn, but thanks to his mana absorption skill, his physical strength and inner energy are far ahead of any child his age. While crawling on the floor, he continues pushing himself. Every second spent training is one step closer to leaving everyone in the dust. Just as he's deep in focus, Lady Rafana scoops him up from the carpet. She presents him with a toy he wasn't expecting, and for a split second, he freezes. Not wanting to disappoint her, Errol quickly starts shaking the toy and babbling with excitement. Internally, he feels a little embarrassed, but Rafana and Chana both giggle at the adorable sight, calling him perfect and handsome. He secretly enjoys the compliments, even if he knows most of the credit goes to his mom's good genes. Still, he decides to embrace this baby phase. It won't last forever, and he might as well play the part for now. Suddenly, he starts to pout and fuss. Chana can't figure out what's wrong at first, but the answer is simple. He's hungry. He begins crying, clearly trying to signal his needs. Eventually, Chana guesses correctly and gives him milk. As he drinks, the adults nearby begin discussing more serious matters, finances. Apparently, the household funds are dwindling fast. Even though he's a prince, there's barely enough money to buy quality food, let alone luxuries.